Thanks, Ilse. Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome to our easy macrame fringe earrings class. I hope you will love this one. This one is really fun. So I got started with macrame kind of recently. For me, I've always loved doing like square knots and things like that, but I'd never done the real, like the double half hitch knots and things that are used in the micro macrame design world. They were pretty new to me until about a month ago. So I'm a beginner teaching a beginner class, and I'm hoping that that might shine through in some of the instruction because, it's fresh in my mind, everything that I encountered when I was learning. So this design is a repeat of just one style of knot over and over again. And so, oh, thanks, Ilse. What you have to do is just get that one knot down, and then you've got the rest of the design just ready to go. And at the end, I'm going to show you guys how to just kind of finish it up with some beautiful fringe. This is a really forgiving design. It can be made of any colors. It can be made of a lot of different beads. I think that it's really just go to town and do what inspires you, and you will get something really nice that you love as a result. So I used in the design that you see here a few things. I used the small ring, so the smallest one from one of these connector packs. And these connector packs are available in Michael's on the wall where all the findings are. And I used this micro macrame cord, and it's a really small, like I think it's 0.38 millimeters. Oh, there it is right there. And so it's just small enough to get through even a size 11 seed bead. So how cool is that? That's how you can get this full fringe to happen. And then really that's all the materials I used. I have some tools that I brought in. I at the end needed some tweezers. So I just grabbed a pair of knotting tweezers to do these little knots here at the end. And one of the things you might want to do, it's optional. You can either use some fabric glue, or what I like to do is I just take a thread burner and I just gently burn the ends to kind of finish up my knot. And so I'm going to demo that today, but if you're using glue, all you would do is just put a tiny dot of glue on your knot and then trim it once it's dry. So both of those ways are a great way to finish this design. Okay, so I'm going to grab a few things, put these aside just for now. What you want to do is start by making this part of the design. So you'll need one of the rings, and you'll need 6 cords. And each of these 6 cords is 25 inches long. So I pre-cut a bunch of cords here that I'm going to use for my demo. And I am moving up a size in knotting cord for the first half. And then for the second half, I'll switch to the tiny, but it's really small and it's a little hard to see. So for anyone who's like brand new to the half hitch knots and double half hitch knots, I'm going to show you with just a little bit of larger cord. And I've again pre-cut these to 25 inches. And all of this is in the handout, so you don't have to memorize it. And I've gone up a size in my ring. So I'm just going to work with this one that's just a little bit bigger, just for the larger knotting cord. And let me show you really quick what that looks like when it's done. So I'm going to do a little side by side for you. So this is the 0.8 millimeter knotting cord. And this is available in Michael's too, if you can find it there, kind of nearby where the micro threads are. And here's the beautiful Gudebrod thread next to it. So you can see how cool that looks. It's just like so tiny and so detailed and beautiful. But this might be a little easier to see, and I've got some colors that I can show you. So let's go ahead and just dive in. And then what I have here on what's holding this is some board, some foam cork board. And then for visibility, I've just put a piece of paper on top so that it'll be a lot easier to see what I'm doing. It was pretty hard to see with this. It just kind of has a hard to see surface. So you probably don't need to use the paper for what you've got going on your mat. You can just use whichever. And so I'm going to start with showing you how I secure my work. So anything is going to work. You could also use a clipboard if you have a clipboard handy. You can just do what I've done here. Let me take this off and show you. It is just a scrap piece of cord that I very cleverly tightly knotted on there. So in any length, it doesn't have to be a specific measure. This is just something to secure it. So really anything's going to work, and you don't have to lark knot it, but the way I did it is I brought these ends together by folding it over like that, and then just brought them through the ring here, grab those ends and pull it through. And that's a lark's knot. And that's all you got to do for the step one of this design. And so I'm going to secure this right here to the top of this board. And you can use chip clip, bag clip, like binder clip, one of those little clamps from like Home Depot would work, anything that will work at all here. So just get that to stay at the top. And of course, if you have a clipboard, you can just flip it under there. And here's all my cords that I pre-cut. And so let me go ahead and grab, just gonna one at a time. In every case, I'm gonna bring the ends together. And again, these cords, each of them is 25 inches long. It gives you lots of extra maneuvering for putting your fringe on and doing all that good stuff. And then going through the loop here, I'm gonna pinch the ends and pull that all the way through. And so I'm going to put different colors next to each other in the hopes that this will make it easier for you guys to see when I'm going over a cord or under a cord. So that's why I'm going for different colors. And also it might look really cool. So you kind of need to see that too. So again, I'm just bringing the ends together like this. Just getting them as close as I can. And then I bring my hand through the loop, grab those ends, and then just pull tight. And don't worry if they slide around, because we get the opportunity more than a few times to straighten up that little connection there. So I'm just going to go a little faster on these. This is going to be a really pretty colorway. Again, just bringing those ends together just like that. And bring those up through your ring. And then you just want to pinch those ends. I always just bring my hand through the loop, grab them, and pull. Last one. All right. So those are all ready to go. And if you have any, like, you see this one right here where it's kind of one of the cords just doesn't very clearly take one side or the other, you do want them to be pretty flat. So I'm going to just make sure they're all very clearly saying, hey, this one's on the left and on the right, because after you get started, it'll be harder to fix that. And I am treating this as the front for now. But for some designers, they like to use the other side as the front. So that side, that's so far as I can tell, that just seems to be a preference of what people like. But I've been using this side as my front just because that's what feels right to me. But go ahead and if you like the other side better, this design will still work perfectly, even if you make the choice of making the other side your front. Or even if that happens accidentally, which sometimes I do that by accident, and the pattern still works out really nicely. Okay, so this next part is not hard. It just takes practice. And once you get it, it'll be there for you. And it's one of those things that are, you know, it's a type of knot that it's used over and over again in all of these patterns, all of these macrame patterns that you might see out on the web and things like that. They're all going to call out this one knot. It's called a double half hitch knot. And the way it's constructed is you take one cord and you decide that's your holding cord, and different patterns will call out different cords as the holding cord. For us today, our holding cords are always going to be the ones that are on each of the sides. And I see a question popping up about the microcord. Yes, this is the microcord. Sorry about that. Looks like it paused for a second. Am I all good, he'll say? Is it okay? It's good.
Yeah, you're good. There is a little bit of a delay, but
Okay.
oh, now it is. Yeah, it's kind of like, I think if you move something a lot, it
Interesting.
stutters a little bit, but it looks good now.
It's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cord that I was showing earlier, guys, this is the one that is being used in the class samples. It's very small, and so I'm currently demoing with some large nylon knotting cord just to show the knots, and then I'm going to switch to this afterward. But yeah, this is available in Michaels in 3 colors. You can get it in natural, and you can also get it in black and white. And so I'm thinking of doing a seashell design later with the different colors. I have lots of ideas in my head for different things to do with those. But so for this design, all you need to do is, oh, and the rings, guys, the rings that I'm using are here. There's 3 different sizes. At the moment, I'm demoing with the middle, but my designs, my earring designs use the smallest one. All right, and so holding cords for us today, all we got to do is worry about these edges are always going to be the holding cord. And you'll see it's kind of cool how it changes after every row. After the next row, this will be the outside one, and then this will be, it'll move inward. And I actually kind of find that really fun to see. So it's interesting. It doesn't matter if you start on the left or the right. I tend to always start from the left, and that's just, not sure why, but I always just end up kind of doing that. If you want to bring your left side cord over the front of all the other cords like that. And if you want to, it's up to you if you want to pin it. Sometimes I do put a pin in the ring to hold it steady. And then I'll put a pin on the cord to hold it steady over here. But when you're working with the micro cord, it's a little easier actually to clip it over to the side, because the micro cord is a little hard to get a pin through because it's so small. But roughly, this is kind of what you're going for. And sometimes I don't pin it and I just hold it and work with it, and it works out fine. So give it a try and see what you like. And I'm going to demo it kind of without the pin on that side so I can get under it easily. So the next cord in is the one you're going to use as your working cord. So go ahead and pick up this one, bring it over this one, and then bring it under that one right there. And then just pull right up to meet. And it's going to look like that. And so we're going to do that same exact step one more time. You'll do it twice for each cord. And that's why they call it the double half hitch knot. So again, we're going to bring this cord up and over the working cord. And then it's going to go underneath the working cord. And as it's being pulled, it crosses over itself on the way out, see? And then you just want to go ahead and pull that tightly. And you'll get your first double half hitch knot right there. So the next thing you want to do is the same thing we just did, but with the next cord in. And that's going to be this cord right here. So bring this one up and over, and it's the same holding cord. And you want to go under it. And as it's coming this way, it's going to pass over itself, forming that first loop. And that loop will come right over here and sit next to the last double half hitch knot that you made. And do the same thing again and go over, then under, and through. And so there's our second double half hitch knot. So once you get that down, you've got the tools to do pretty much any and all macrame projects out there. They all kind of start with and repeatedly use versions of this knot. Sometimes they change direction. For us today, we're just going to be going mostly in these directions toward the center. So here's the next cord in. Same thing. It's going to bring that over and then under. And then as it's being pulled through, it's passing over itself again right there. Bring that knot right up next to the former one. And then just repeat that one more time. And go over, under, and pull. And just in case anyone's just joining, I'm seeing some questions pop up about the cord. The cord I'm using isn't the feature, it's just kind of easier to see because the beautiful cord that I use on these designs is micro, really tiny. We are going to demo with that next, but what you'll find is because it's waxed, the wax coating hides the structure of the knot a little bit. And what I want you to be able to see right now that you won't be able to see on the waxed version is this part right here. How it, in fact, it's even harder to see when it's the same color. You need to see it in different colors. But do you see how each individual loop has the cord emerging from it? It looks almost like it's got it's a not a U shape in reality, but it looks like a U shape to you kind of once you've got it knotted, and each of those cords is kind of sticking out from it. That's the structure you're going for. And that's what makes these designs that you see that are so elaborate, what makes them look so put together is the repetition of that knot and the way it layers on top of itself when you add another row. So I'm hoping to get that far here so you can get that visual before we switch to the small cord. Because I think it really helped me working with large cord first. I learned working with oh, sorry about that. I learned working with a 1 millimeter like cotton wax cord actually, and that was for me the easiest way to learn. But it makes a really big design. So for this one, I figured easier to see this way. All right, so again, I'm still using the same holding cord, and it's coming out from the last knot we made, and I'm just going to move inward. Just every time we just keep moving in and grab the next cord, and you just want to bring that one over the holding cord, and then you want to go under it and pull that through. As it's being pulled through, again, it's passing over itself on the way out. And then I'm going to snuggle that knot right up next to the former one. And then we're just going to go over, under, and pull back through. And there we go. I'm going to bring that just a little closer for you guys to see. So same thing with this one. And this will be the other thing I wanted to mention for this particular design. Once you've done 5 cords, notice we've done 4. We've done 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is our 5th cord. After that, we switch to the other side. And that is very easy to see right now. But when you do row 2, it's hard to see. So you'll want to remember 5 on each side. And then I work the middle. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let's get to this last one here. So again, we're going to go over and then under and then over on the way out and pull. And then we'll go over, under, and pull that through. All right, so that concludes the left-hand side of the design. Let me just show you one more time up close. So that side is nice and good right there. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, and now we're going to do that from this side. And it's really easy to do. The only thing that might throw you a little bit is the first time you work this, you're going to be doing the double half hitch knot from a different direction. And so when I was new, that was something that was a little bit of a struggle for me because the whole right to left thing. But Oh, Terry, don't worry. There's a replay that will be posted on Monday. So, and I'm probably going to repeat everything I'm doing now with the small cord, hoping to have time for that. And right now, Terry, I'm working with the big cord for demo purposes only. Okay, and so I'm going to bring this holding cord again over all of these cards here. And again, we've got 5. We want to do 5 double half hitch knots. And I'm going to need to be careful when I get to this one and make sure that I have it on the right side. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so starting with this cord as my working cord and this cord as my holding cord, I'm going to bring this up and over. So it's going over the holding cord right here. And then this one's going to go under. And as it's going through, it's going over itself. So notice we just did that in a different, it's the same knot, but we're working from right to left instead of left to right. The same thing again, we're going to go over and then under and then pull through. And that should put that knot right next to the former one. And now we can move to work with the next cord. So same thing, this one's going to go over it. And then it's going to go under it. And pull tight. Again, over, under, and pull tight. So I'm speeding up just a little bit, but we're gonna, there's the replay of the beginning and we're gonna go through this a bunch of times. So this is the next cord in. We're just working from the right into the center with each subsequent cord. So again, this one's gonna go over. And then it's going to go underneath. And as you're pulling it through, it's going over itself on the way out. And then we just pull to tighten. You just want to repeat that. And you want to do that twice with every cord. And sometimes you lose count. So one of the things that happens to me a lot when I'm working, if I switch to something else and come back, is I forget if I'd finished my knot. So I always try to end with a complete double half hitch knot. But one way you can tell if you got it is for every knot, you should see 2 cords. And I know that'll be harder to see on the micro, but once you've got the feeling for it, you'll know. And plus it will not loosen up on you once you've done the second half of the knot. First half of the knot, it actually could loosen up on you. So that's another way you can kind of figure out what you've done if you've forgotten. The other thing that you might want to watch for is our middle cord. And this was the holding cord from our left-hand side. It's going to start getting in your way as you get closer to the middle. So if you want to just pull that over out of the way and just keep that kind of to the side. Okay. So again, my holding cord is still the same one. And the same one that's coming out of these knots right here. And my next cord in is this one. So I'm going to work with this one now. I'm going to bring it up and over. And then I'm going to go under and pull through. As you're pulling through it, it's going over itself. I'm just going to tighten that right there. Do that one more time. Over, under, and over itself. Let's give you a close look at that. And so you just want to ignore this one right here, because that's our holding cord from the other side. But we're just going for getting those knots to look just like that. We got one more to go because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to do number 5. And number 5, again, this is our holding cord here. Go over, under, and pull through, over, under, and through. So now I'm going to bring the holding cord that we were using in the first half, in the second half, and I want to show you how, so you can kind of move them still. This next step, you want to just bring those right next to each other. And it doesn't actually matter which side you do, but I chose one and stuck with it through the whole thing to make everything look, let me show you on this one really quick. So this next step we're gonna do determines which one becomes the one that goes a little further down and which one connects here. Now, what you could do here in the center, if you're an experienced person, I'll just shout out to you, you could do a reverse double half hitch knot and it will create a true center point. But I find that's more, less of a beginner thing. It's something I struggled with. So I wanted this to be pure beginner. So what I did is I did the same knot again, preferencing the cord coming in from the left as the holding cord. And if you do that every single time with your center, you'll get this, where the top one kind of looks like it's just layering and landing right on top of the one coming in from the left. So here's how that's done. And this is by far the easiest way to get there if you're just learning these knots. So our holding cord from this side is this one here in brown. And our holding cord from this side is this one here in green. They're both being brought to the center. They were the edge, and now they're both the center coming out of these knots right here. And I'm going to cross the one from the left-hand side over the one that came in from the right-hand side. And I'm going to use the right-hand side cord as my working cord. And it's on the left now because we brought it over here. And the holding cord is going to stay over here. So to do that, you just want to bring this working cord up and over. And remember this one, we crossed it over the green one here. And that part's important. I'm going to make sure this one is over the green one. And get it tight. So scoosh those guys right next to each other. This is your last chance to make that connection tight. And it'll look a lot less gappy with the smaller cord too. Now you want to bring this one over. And then you want to go under right here. And after you go under this cord, I'm going to bring this one over itself on the way out. And just keep pulling and tighten that one time. And then do that one more time. Over, under, and tighten it down. Okay, so you get a little V point like that. And here is on the earring, the little tiny earring. See, it's so much smaller, so much tinier. But wow, does it look cool. All right, I'm going to show one more row. We're right at the half-hour mark, and I do want to show you at least one demo with the small cord, just so you can see it come together. But seeing the next row is kind of important. And this next part that I'm going to do, it just gets repeated 4 times. So a total of 4. So for a total of 4 rows. So forgive me, it's really just 3 repeats. We just finished this right here at the top. And we're just going to do another row like this. And what I'm going to show you now, you just do it 2 more times if you like this look of the 4. That said, you could start your fringe after 2 and it will look cool. So it really is, it's your own to design, however you'd like to. But on these, we were just doing 4 because it was so small. I felt like 4 looked good. Larger cord, you might not need as many. So it's something to think about when you're playing with your design. Okay, so at this point, we're just going to get back to what's here on the mat. So I'm going to bring all these together. And just take a look at them. Choose the 2 that are now your edge. So for us, that's this green one and this brown one. And then these are our 5. We should have 5 cords on the left. Sure, these ones here. And then those 5 cords on the right. And the same thing. It's going to start by bringing the edge cord down as your holding cord. And you can clip it over here if you'd like. And then start with your very most edge cord after doing that as your working cord. So this one right here. So we'll just bring this one up and over the holding cord. And then you just want to go under it. and pull. And it's really cool, but what it'll do is it'll just settle right next to the one on top. If you feel like it, you can nudge it a little bit, make it really close, but right about there is perfect. And when you're working with cord that's the same color, you won't see that little turn. It'll just blend. And the same thing again, I went over, under, and then over itself. And so that's all we got to do. Just keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that a little faster now. Next cord in is this one. Over and under. There's the first half. Second half. Same thing again. Next cord in. I'm going to go over and then under. So it went over here and then it went under and pull tight. And then over, under it, and pull tight. So that was our third cord. Need to do cord number 4. And I really just kind of, I hold everything like I'm doing right now when I'm working quickly. That's my style that I've just adapted. A lot of macrame artists would be telling me to use my pins right now, and they'd be right. But for some reason, I just find it easier not to use my pins, except for maybe to hold my ring steady. But I don't know if there's any macrame artists already here in the chat. Let me know what you think about using pins. I know I should be using them, but for some reason, I just feel like my knots are easier to form. Maybe the reason to use pins is to make sure like you don't get a gap like that. But I'm a little more successful when I'm being more mindful about it. Like on this one, I was really mindful about my gaps. And the way to prevent those is just to make sure every time you do your new knot, let me show you on the side, that you're pulling that holding cord right up next to the former row. So in this case for us, this side, you want to get that side nice and tight, like right there, and make sure all those knots. But getting under it, that's the part that I'm struggling still with, to make it as tight as possible without, you know, pinning it. So just going over with this one and then go under. And then pull tight. I'm just kind of, I'm going to pull that over. So when I'm doing my knots, I'm just doing that, see, and just putting pressure like right there. That everyone develops kind of their own little style that seems to have become my style, I guess. So there's that first knot. Again, I'm going to go over. I'm working with the next cord in, under, and pull tight. Move around one more time. And pull tight. And so doing that seems, Sharon's saying she uses clips more often. Yeah, clips, I like clips a lot. Definitely, especially if, for example, if I was to clip this right here, right now, like that, I could still get under it by coming over here. The tricky part for me is being able to get under it easily, because I kind of like to lift it up so I can get under. See, it's coming over it here and then under it and through. So basically just right before I get to that spot, I become my own pin or my own clip by just kind of tightening it over like that. So you can see it really clearly with this colorway, like that. Okay, then over, under, and tight. Almost pulling up like that seems to work for me. Here's the next one. I'm almost to the middle, and I just want to show that middle. And then let's talk about the other cord after this. And I want to show you putting beads on. And so there's something I want to highlight just really quick right here. And this is even harder when you're working with the other cord, if you're working with the same color. So you start to get confused about where you are, especially if you're going to be like stopping and starting, like going, walk away, come back. Always just come back to your counts. So we know we've got the working cord here on this side is this one coming out of the knots right there. And we've got our 5 cords over here. This is the working cord coming out of these knots, this green one. So you know, we got that. I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 2, 3, 4. So this is my 5th one. It's going to be really tempting and confusing. You're going to want to use the holding cord from your other side and knot it to the, you don't want to do that yet. We'll get there, but I think this is just probably, if I teach you only one thing today, it'll be to count your sides, because I've done it probably 3 or 4 times and I've had to pick my work out. So I'm just going to give you guys a heads up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want to have 5 knots right here. And I'm going to do my 5th knot now, which is this one right here. It's going to go over and then under and then over. And what's super confusing right now is that holding cord from my other side. It's looking like it's the right cord, but it is not the right cord. It is the holding cord from the other side. So I should probably just put that out of the way. Finishing the second half of this knot with a 5th cord coming in from the right. And then you can always just spot check yourself. Like you can look and say, hey, here's my 2 holding cords. And then here's 5 cords on this side and my 5 cords on that side. And if you got into that spot, then you know you got it. And if not, it is actually pretty easy to pick knots out. It's a lot less difficult than I was expecting. You can use like just a pin and just kind of, you want to get in between. If you ever had to do that, be really gentle. You don't snag your cord, but if you want to get in the knot, like right there, that's probably the best way to pick the knot out. But hopefully I've saved you having to do that by just highlighting that one spot. So once you're here, again, we've decided that left-hand side becomes holding cord, and that's the convention we've just decided to go with. So bring that one over and make it really, really tight. See, pull that together. And bring the holding cord over the working cord. And then bring the working cord into a loop like that, over the holding cord right here. And then you want to go under and then pull that through. Nice and tight. Repeat. I'm going to bring that over and then under and then through. And so what we've got now is, I'm loving the way the different colors kind of flow through this. It's kind of cool looking. And I could have done a little bit better with that one cord there, but that's pretty much the goal, is to get them to cross like that. So that is in a nutshell how to do it. You would just repeat everything we did with the second row 2 more times to get to where we are in the finished design. And so we are at the 20-minute mark. I want to have time to show you guys how to put the beads on. And I already have one ready to go with the beads, but I could also really quickly throw some cord onto the small ring I have here and just show you super, super quick what that looks like. I'll just do a few knots. But it's not scary. It's just small, right? It's just small cords. So it looks like this. Little teeny. And I'm going to measure out 25 inches. And I didn't show this at the beginning. I'm going to show it now, how to do the cord convention here. Just pinch that kind of at your 0 mark there, and then just hold it, bring it down. I'm going to find that 25 over here. I won't need that anymore and get rid of that. Okay. And then just use that cord to measure all your other cords. So super easy. And we're going for 6. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's number 5. And number 6. Doesn't have to be too precise, just getting it close enough. So we've got our 6 cords here. Got a ring here. And I do have a spare cord I'm going to use to kind of be the clipping cord. So bring that through. And let's remove this one. All right, it's got that clipped right to the top there. 6 cords here. It's going to be small. It's going to be hard to see, but I'm going to hold it up every time. So here's find the midpoint by just bringing your ends together. I'm going to do this with each cord. Bring it underneath the ring like that. And then, you know, you've got your loop forming right here. Just grab these ends and bring them through. So it's going to be tiny, but it's going to look like that. I'm going to do that really quick. But maybe it's good to see it, because for anyone who's new to this knot, the real trick to get all your lark's head knots to be facing the same direction is to just bring the tails up from the same direction. So if I chose for coming up from underneath, bringing it through and pull tight. And they slide around, so don't worry if they're not in the right spot right now. No problem. Pull tight. There's 3. And this cord is actually kind of sticky too. So once you tighten it on the component, those little knots, they stay really nice and tight. It's pretty cool. This kind of feels like, so to me, this cord is almost like a hybrid between, if you're familiar with like the micro Ceylons type of style cord, and wax linen. And I've always really loved wax linen. But to the best of my knowledge, the closest you can get to micro in that is a 1-ply, and a 1-ply would be very would break really easy, in my estimation. So that's why I really like this cord. It's so strong, and even against, you know, the edge of a metal component, no problem with it being pulled tightly, right? Okay, there's my last one. All right, so I'm gonna just tighten one more time all these guys again. Make sure that's staying tight there. Okay. So very tiny, guys, very, very, very small. Really quickly, I'm just gonna walk through some of these knots and show you what they look like. But please refer to the larger demo to really get the structure down and the flow. This is just more so you can see how it looks with the small. So again, I'm just gonna bring this one over. And then I'm gonna work with my next cord that is in. Just this one. And I'm gonna bring it over. And then under. And making that loop go right up to the top. Just like that. And you won't be able to see it, but it's there. It's there for sure. Here's over. under. If you have a magnifier, it can really help. And through, and it's passing over itself on the way out. And then that little knot approaches right up next to the ring. See how tiny? It's super, super tiny. Let's do a few more. Okay, so this one is the next cord that we want to grab. This one right here. And bring it over, under, and pull tight. And then again, over, under, and tight. So it's actually easier to get your knots to sit close. I don't know why, but the small cord, once you get over how small it is and tiny it is to work with, becomes a kind of an advantage in making your knots look very, very good. It's harder to hide mistakes in tension and gaps with the larger cord than it is with the small. So it'll grow on you. So it's over and under. Again, over. There's that one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's number 5. We'll get to the center here. We're doing okay on time, but I do want to show those beads. Last one. Okay. Super tiny, right? Super, super tiny. But if you keep going, put those next to each other. And do you see how it's got kind of like almost like a dark appearance to it? Because it's waxed, it kind of like gels together, and it almost makes the fibers form into one, I feel like. So you get a really sharp look. Really neat looking. And then after you've been wearing your earrings, these are ones that I made several weeks ago. I've been wearing them. They've been out in the air. The wax dries a little bit. I'm trying to show you next to this one. And lightens in color. And that'll happen with all the colors. But you'll get the kind of clear color coming out. But it's going to look, I made this one last night. And so it looks almost like it's a little still wet. But, so yeah, and you can't see tiny mistakes. That's what Sandy was saying. There is a lot of forgiveness with these. Like you can see, I've got a gap there, pretty big gap there. I did better here, but it hides it. And on the larger ones, it's very apparent. Okay. Like on this one right here. Does it look cool still? Oh yeah, I love it. So it's not even something to worry about, but just something to think about. Okay, so let's put some beads on the one I've got finished. I'm gonna push this one over here. One thing that will be really handy, if you can find them, they're on the wall at Michael's. They have these collapsible eye needles. But you could also put a little glue on the end of this and it'll become a needle. Some of you guys might have Insta needle or something like that. Also will work great. If you want to use this cord, if you're like a Kumihimo artist, you already have the tools in your toolbox. Just go get those things that you use to string beads and they'll work great for this. I'm just going to use one of these because it's the easiest, most beginner friendly way to just get going. And then I'm going to grab my beads. So I've got a mat here, just it's off to the side. So I've got some size 8 seed beads. Put those ready. And I also have some size 11. Really pretty size 11 beads. And each of the pattern for this is in the handout. You don't have to memorize it, but what I did is just started with an edge that has the 7 beads, and I spaced each one with an 11-0. And then by the time you get to the middle, you just keep adding until you have 12. Just keep going up, 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 up. And so you'll have a total of 12 strands. And each one starts with these 7 beads on the side. And with each strand, as you work your way in, just add 1 bead, 1 repeat of S8, S11. In the handout, I've abbreviated size 11 and size 8 as S11 and S8. So just one repeat like that. Let's start with the edge here. And I've been using this one, so it's a little bent. That's okay. I'm just going to fold it over. And I'm going to string on, sorry if it gets fuzzy for a second, but I'm going to string on a repeat of S11 and S8. And I'm going to do that 7 times and then end with an S11. There's one. It's kind of, I'm going to move this down just a little bit. There we go. That'll make it easier. 3. Apologies if anyone's counting. There's 4. Okay, there's my 7th. Bring that up. And then what you want to do is end with one more size 11. That'll make your knot easier to stay put. So first side done, I'm going to go ahead and take the collapsible eye needle off. And then let's put a knot right underneath. If you have, this is where tweezers or chain nose pliers, if you have some fine chain nose pliers, a beading awl, anything like that. I'm a tweezer person, so I have some little tweezers I'm going to use. And I believe I put a link to those in the handout too. But to make your knot, just bring your knot like this. So this cord over this one. And then go under like that. And do that one more time. So bring this cord up through the loop one more time. So surgeon's knot basically, right? And you'll get this loop forming. Bring your tweezers or your chain nose pliers through the loop here. And then pinch the spot on the cord that is right below your bead. And this is your chance to get it tight right there. And then just pull tightly. It'll go right about like that. I'm gonna take out my tweezers. And then from underneath, I'm gonna do that. So you get a nice little knot. And then what I like to do is I trim it maybe like a millimeter to a millimeter and a half below my knot. And if you're doing glue, put the glue on before you cut it and then cut it after your glue is dry. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, but I'm going to burn it. So I went ahead and cut, leaving about that much, which is about a millimeter and a half. And now I'm going to grab the cord end. So this is just a regular thread burner, cord end thread burner. And just carefully, don't burn yourself. It's not hard, but it is a little bit. It will create a little bit of smoke. I'm gonna get as close as I can, and then pat it. Okay. So that's how I did all of my little ends. And so we've got 4 minutes. I would have to string beads. I'm not sure I could land that ship in 4 minutes, but you'd basically just do this same thing again. You would take this one, and this time you would string a repeat of S11 and S8 and do that 8 times because this one was 7. End with an S11 and do that nice knot again. And then you just want to trim it about 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters and then burn that end, or put glue on it and then trim it at the end once your glue's dry. And you'll get this. And then you just pop an ear wire onto the loop. Super easy. You can just open a loop on your ear wire and get that on there. And that's all there is to it. So yeah, I apologize if I missed any questions. I was going a little faster at the end. Does anyone have questions for me or about I could show next week or next week? I'm wearing next week, I believe. No, I'm not. Because next week is the 28th. Okay, we have our next class is in July, I believe. It's this one. Sorry, my brain. My kids are getting off school, and so and then we have 4th of July. So it ends up with a little bit of a gap. I apologize. But our next class was requested. You guys wanted to see how we did this cool bracelet where we make our own little component. And this one came out so cool. It has a 8mm Czech crystal inside, 6mm, sorry, 6.0 seed beads that are going with some size 11 around. And there's a bunch of different ways you can make it with beading wire, or you can make it with wildfire beading thread. It's 22 gauge German style wire to make the component. PDF's already on the website. You can find it at michaels.com/classes. And then the ones I'm wearing are the class after that. This one is really cool. It's just wire wrapped seed beads. And so if you've never done a wire wrap seed bead design before, you will love this. It's really fun and it goes really fast and it's lots of ways you can spin it. And pretty soon I'll be putting more classes up for the next one after that. So keep your eyes out for that. All of them are on michaels.com/classes and you can filter for jewelry and they'll all come up. All right. So Millie, did I miss anything that anyone asked somewhere in the comments?
No, I think we're good. There was one question about how many knots altogether. Is it
How many of the half hitch knots?
knots? Yeah.
Well, so we're doing 10 on each side. Because, well, if you count that, it depends how you count them. So a double half hitch knot is a 2-part knot. If you count that as 1, it's 5 or 10 on each side, and then 1 in the middle addition. So you basically have 11 times 4, so 44 knots in total for the entire top part. It's 44 double half hitch knots. And then if you want to count the bottom of the fringes, you got an additional 12 on that. But yeah, it goes faster than I made it look like. I was going real slow, trying to make sure that I didn't, because when I learned those knots the first time, it just wasn't apparent to me. Like the hardest part for me was bringing the cord the right direction through the loop, right? Because you could easily bring the cord around and over and then go under in the wrong direction, and then you wouldn't be able to go under the loop, right? So that I wanted you guys to be able to see that. I hope I did a good job showing you that. And of course, if you have questions or if you just want to share your beautiful creation with us, please tag us on social media. You can hashtag Make It With Michaels, hashtag John Bead, and we will be able to see everything that you've posted and your questions. There's also a Facebook group. It's PDFs and projects from John Bead. And that's a Facebook group you can join, share your work, ask questions. And we also have a blog. If you go to blog.johnbead.com, you can find a lot of PDFs, handouts, lots of information on upcoming events and things like that. All right, guys, I want to wish you a great weekend and happy beading. And I will see you guys on the socials, seeing what you post. All right, have a great weekend.